Ever imagine yourself as like a financial matchmaker? Not for millionaires or anything, but for, everyday people making one of their biggest financial decisions.
Yeah, yeah.
Today's deep dive, we're tackling the world of mortgage brokering.
Okay, love it.
And we've got a whole stack of insights from RoleCatcher to help us break it all down.
It's fascinating, actually, how much this career has changed.
Yeah.
It's not just about like crunching numbers and interest rates anymore. It's a whole landscape of technology regulations. You wouldn't believe it.
So before we get into all the nitty-gritty details,
Yeah.
let's start basic. What does a mortgage broker do?
In the simplest terms, they're the bridge between borrowers and lenders. Think of them as like expert guides on the journey to buying a home, making sure people secure the best mortgage possible.
So they're not actually lending the money themselves, more
Yeah.
like intermediaries.
Exactly. Spot on. They work with this whole network of lenders, which is a game changer for borrowers. Imagine searching for a rare book, right? Do you want to limit yourself to one bookstore or have someone who can scour dozens for you?
Okay, yeah. Having someone who knows that market, especially when it comes to mortgages, that could be huge.
Absolutely. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. They handle the entire loan process, collecting documents,
Yeah.
analyzing financial situations, all of it. They're with the borrower every step of the way.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility. No wonder RoleCatcher really highlights things like communication skills, attention to detail, all that.
Oh, for sure. You're dealing with people's finances, their aspirations.
Yeah.
Get pretty stressful. So yeah, empathy is a big one, being able to explain those complex things in a way that makes sense. And of course, making sure everything's done by the book.
Definitely not for the faint of heart, it sounds like. But RoleCatcher also mentioned, the potential for high earnings, although it can be a little unpredictable. What's the deal with that?
Well, it all boils down to this. Mortgage brokers, they often rely on commissions. So every loan they close, that's their reward.
Ah, so there's the roller coaster. A booming housing market probably means big paychecks. But then what happens when things slow down?
Well, that's where those skills we talked about, like resilience, adaptability, that's where they really come into play. The best mortgage brokers, they're not just good at their job. They're good at managing their own, like, mini business,
Yeah.
networking, building relationships. It's all connected.
It's almost like being an entrepreneur, but within this bigger field.
You got it. It's not just about understanding mortgages, it's understanding people. Building trust is huge because the market can be fierce.
Speaking of navigating that market, RoleCatcher gave us a peek at what a typical career path looks like. Where can you go from being a mortgage broker, Is it a dead end, or are there ways to climb that ladder?
Oh, not a dead end at all. Typically, you'd start as an assistant, learning the ropes,
Right.
supporting the more seasoned brokers. And then as you gain that experience, you move up. Junior mortgage broker handling more responsibility. Eventually, you've got your own clients.
So building your client base, getting those skills honed. What's it like at the top, reaching the peak?
RoleCatcher mentioned senior mortgage broker roles. Now, at that level, you're not just closing deals, you're leading teams, coming up with strategies, mentoring the newcomers. It's a prime example of how experience in this field can lead to leadership.
It's pretty inspiring to see how starting with the right foundation can really turn into such a, dynamic and fulfilling career path.
And speaking of foundations, we should probably talk about the skills and education you need to even get your foot in the door as a mortgage broker. Well, a good grasp of finance is definitely essential, but you don't need to be like a Wall Street whiz. Most states, they require a high school diploma and this thing called a mortgage loan originator license.
A mortgage loan originator license.
Yeah, an MLL license.
Okay, sounds official. What all goes into getting one of those?
It's different everywhere, but usually you're looking at some pre-licensing education, background check, and then passing a national exam.
Makes sense.
It's how you prove you get the nitty-gritty of mortgage lending, that you can guide clients responsibly and all.
So it's not just about, like you said, being good with numbers, but knowing the rules of the game, keeping things ethical.
Exactly.
But okay, beyond the official stuff, what kind of person really thrives in this kind of job?
Honestly, someone who genuinely enjoys helping people.
Okay, yeah.
This whole job is about guiding people through major life decisions.
Yeah.
You need empathy. You got to build that trust.
Yeah.
Those interpersonal skills, those are just as important as knowing the technical stuff, especially if you want to build a solid client base.
It's like they say, people might not remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel.
100%. And when you're talking about something as big as buying a home, that feeling of trust in your mortgage broker, that's priceless. But it's not just hand-holding. A good mortgage broker, they've also got to be a skilled negotiator.
Oh, right, because you've got the client on one side, the lender on the other.
It's a balancing act for sure.
Finding that sweet spot where everyone's happy, that's got to be tough.
And that's why RoleCatcher stresses those problem-solving skills. You're always juggling priorities, running into unexpected bumps in the road, finding creative solutions.
Yeah.
It can be a lot, but when you see the positive impact on your clients, so rewarding.
Speaking of a lot, what about technology in all of this? Is it mainly spreadsheets and calculators, or has the digital world taken over the mortgage industry too?
Let's just say a good mortgage broker these days, they're as comfy with financial software as they are with people. Technology is changing the game, no doubt. Online applications, digital documents. There are even these automated systems now that speed up the entire process.
So you're not just a financial expert, you're like a tech-savvy multitasker.
Pretty much.
Juggling software, client relationships.
It's fast-paced, I'm not going to lie. And you got to be willing to constantly learn. The best mortgage brokers,
Yeah.
they're always on top of the latest tech, the newest trends in the industry.
Makes sense. It plays right into that whole entrepreneurial spirit we were talking about before.
Absolutely. You're not just clocking in and out. You're constantly adapting, evolving to stay ahead.
Right. Which I guess brings us to a pretty crucial part of landing a mortgage broker job in the first place, the interview.
Oh yeah, the moment of truth.
Putting all those skills and qualifications to the test. What kind of questions should someone expect in a mortgage broker interview? How can they really knock it out of the park?
Well, remember all that talk about real-world scenarios and problem solving?
Mm-hmm.
Interviewers, they want to see you think on your feet, how you handle curveballs. They'll likely throw you some hypothetical client situations or maybe a really tough loan application and see what you do.
So it's not enough to just know what a mortgage is from a textbook. You got to show them you can apply that knowledge to real life.
Exactly. Be ready to explain how you think, show off that analytical side, prove you're committed to finding solutions that work for everyone involved, the client, the lender.
Like walking a tightrope, like you're saying. But hey, that's what RoleCatcher's for, right? They gave some great examples of common interview questions.
Oh, they did. And not just general stuff. These were scenarios tailored to the mortgage industry.
Oh, nice.
Like, one question was all about how you'd find the best mortgage product for a client with, unique financial needs. Maybe they're self-employed. Maybe their credit score isn't perfect.
It's like getting a sneak peek into the interviewer's playbook. Knowing those scenarios ahead of time, that's got to be a game changer.
It really is, and it doesn't stop there. RoleCatcher actually has tools to help you come up with killer answers, to practice your whole interview game.
Okay, now I need to hear more, because anything that helps you shine in an interview, I'm all ears.
They have this thing called interview practice with AI feedback, right? You record yourself answering these common mortgage broker questions, and the AI analyzes everything. It'll point out areas where you can improve, give you personalized tips.
Wait, hold on. It's like having your own personal interview coach, but digital? That's wild.
Right.
It's not just giving you information. It's like RoleCatcher actually sets you up to land the job.
100%. And it's not just about acing the interview either. They have stuff for building an amazing resume, for finding potential employers, even negotiating salary and benefits.
Wow. So it really is a one-stop shop if you're serious about becoming a mortgage broker.
It really is. They've thought of everything. It shows you how dedicated they are to helping job seekers. Giving them the knowledge, the tools, and the confidence to succeed.
For sure. Well, we've covered the skills, the education, the interview process, even how important technology is in this field. But let's be real for a sec. What about the money? What can someone realistically expect to earn as a mortgage broker?
The million-dollar question, right?
Right.
But remember what I said before, income in this field, it's mostly commission-based. So how much you earn, directly tied to how many deals you close, how strong your client base is, how well you manage your own business.
So no steady paycheck, no guarantees. It's all about the hustle, the expertise, and building that trust.
You nailed it. Now, I know that might sound kind of scary, especially when you're just starting out, but it's also incredibly empowering. You're in the driver's seat, your income. It reflects your hard work, your dedication.
I love that perspective. You're not beholden to anyone. It's all on you.
Exactly. And while there's no secret formula for success, RoleCatcher did share some pretty insightful stuff about how top-performing mortgage brokers consistently crush it.
Ooh, okay, spill the tea. What are they doing that everyone else isn't?
Well, one thing they all seem to have in common is this. They deeply understand their local market.
Interesting.
He's like, they're not just mortgage experts, they're experts on their communities, the neighborhoods, the schools, the economy. They know it all.
Okay, so it's not just about interest rates and down payments.
Nope. That local knowledge lets them give really tailored advice, connect with clients on a deeper level, and ultimately close those deals.
It's about understanding the people, the place, because mortgages, they're not just numbers, they're homes, they're lives.
Exactly. And it goes beyond just signing the papers, too. These top performers, they're masters at building relationships that last. They don't just disappear once the deal's done. They're there for the long haul, answering questions, maybe even helping clients refinance years down the line.
It's about becoming more than just a mortgage broker. You're a trusted advisor.
Right. And that's something that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
It's not just transactions. It's about those real connections, making a real difference.
It's about helping people achieve that dream of homeownership, and that's pretty incredible to be a part of.
Sure. And it reminds you that success in this field, it's not just about the money, but the positive impact you have on people's lives.
Couldn't agree more. Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into all things mortgage brokering, let's circle back to something you mentioned earlier about this industry always changing. Technology's moving at lightning speed. Regulations are always evolving. How can someone who's just starting out as a mortgage broker stay ahead of the curve, future-proof their career? Such a good question. It's something every aspiring mortgage broker should be thinking about. The key, in my opinion, never stop learning. Don't just rely on that initial training or license. Stay curious. Look for professional development opportunities. Make it a habit to stay informed.
So it's not a learn it once and you're good kind of
Yeah.
thing. You're constantly learning, growing, evolving. What are some practical ways to do that? Embrace that lifelong learning mindset.
Oh, there are tons of ways. Join industry groups, go to conferences, webinars, even just subscribing to some industry magazines or following experts online. The point is to make it a habit.
Become a student of the mortgage world, always learning.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone a little. Network. Find a mentor. Even taking on new challenges that push you, that's how you really grow.
Seeing every challenge as an opportunity.
Yes. And remember, the mortgage industry, it never sits still, which means there'll always be something new to learn, something new to get excited about. I love that. Knowing that a career in this field isn't just stable, but it has that potential for growth built right in.
Exactly. It's not just a job. It's a journey.
It really is true. When you love what you do, when you see the good it does, it stops feeling like work. It becomes something more.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And speaking of doing good, it made me think about something we kind of glossed over earlier.
Yeah.
The whole ethics side of being a mortgage broker. That's a heavy responsibility.
Oh, absolutely. You're dealing with people's money, their hopes, sometimes their life savings. It's not something to be taken lightly. What kind of ethical dilemmas can pop up for a mortgage broker, and how do you make sure you're always putting the client first?
Okay, so picture this. You've got a client, and they're pre-approved for a mortgage that's honestly bigger than they can comfortably handle. A broker who's just chasing that commission, they might be tempted to push for that huge loan, even if it's not the smartest move for the client long term.
Oh, wow. That's a tough spot to be in. Trying to balance those sales goals with what's actually best for the client.
It is.
How can you tell who's being ethical and who's, maybe cutting corners?
An ethical broker. They're all about transparency and education. They'll take the time to break down all the different loan options, talk about the long-term consequences, good and bad. They're helping the client make an informed choice, one that matches their goals and their risk tolerance.
So it's about being more than just a salesperson. You're an advisor. You're building trust.
Exactly. And that's often forgotten when people talk about success in this field. It's not just about closing the deal. It's about doing the right thing, even when it's hard.
That's such an important message, and it really goes back to what this whole deep dive has been about, finding that career that speaks to your values, where you can use your skills to make a real difference.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, I think we've covered a lot today, wouldn't you say?
We really have. We've explored what it really means to be a mortgage broker, the skills you need to make it, how technology fits in, that ethical decision-making piece, even the potential to build a career you love and make good money doing it.
It's been a great conversation, and I hope everyone listening feels like they have a better grasp on what it really takes to make it in the world of mortgage brokering.
And if this deep dive has got you thinking, if you're ready to take that next step, remember that RoleCatcher is out there, ready to guide you.
Absolutely. Until next time, everyone, keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the careers that excite you. See you next time.